Good morning, Miramar, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Tamara G. As always, you can find us on all of our social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at City of Miramar. And with me on the show today, we have the CEO and founder of Amazing Grace Etiquette and Social Graces. It is Sharon Jackson. She is a certified etiquette coach. We're going to be talking to her about all these social graces that we may or may not have anymore in this new millennium that we're in, along with so much more. So, welcome to the show, Sharon.
Thank you, Tamara. Thank you for having me this afternoon.
I am loving the fact that you're here. We first have to get started with how and why did you want to become a certified etiquette coach? Because really, many people may not even know that such a thing exists.
You're right. A lot of people aren't familiar with it.
Mhm.
And I used to do etiquette training with the Embrace Girls Foundation.
Mhm.
When they started 20 plus years ago, I did it on a part-time need to basis
Right.
as she saw the need for it. And at quite often I thought about doing it a little more permanently. And I've had a career as an executive in retail establishments. And I just thought finally it's time to retire.
Mhm.
And what am I going to do when I retire? Well, I have to tell you, it's an assignment. It's like a word from God says,
Mhm.
this is what you need to do. And as I contemplated it, it all lined up in my favor. So
Wow.
as of right now, I've started my own business, Amazing Grace Etiquette and Social Development,
Mhm.
and we teach life skills to the youth in our community. The skills include topics such as mindfulness, time management, etiquette, and etiquette and
Doing a lot more. Well, I'm glad that you even mentioned that about development because it's now moved into something else other than teaching social graces. Like you now
right.
have a whole movement that you're doing.
Absolutely. It's a full curriculum right now. As you know, you were part of the business etiquette
Mhm.
seminar that we've had some months ago. And since then, I've had private tutoring with some of those same ladies that were
Wow.
in that training. So yes, it has. It started as etiquette and it went into life skills because there's so much more that our youth are unfamiliar with. They're not learning it in classrooms, they're not learning it at home. And every time I introduce myself to someone and say, I'm an etiquette coach, they say, oh, we need this. And I say, yes, we do. And it is an investment. I think although we need it, people don't see it as the importance of investing in it. And these are skills that are not just here today, gone tomorrow. These are skills that have been around centuries. If we're talking about manners, manners are the basics of etiquette. It is the foundation of etiquette. The things that we all learn as children. Thank you, no thank you, please, excuse me, please, may I have. All of those things we learn as children, or we used to learn those things as children, and now we've kind of moved in a different direction. So we have manners and then we have etiquette. And etiquette is simply the social parts of the rules that govern, and not necessarily universal. They may not govern every country, every city. Things change. For example, as we talk a lot about how to use your knife and fork. Well, in America, we use our knife and fork one hand fork, the left hand in the lap.
Right.
Europeans use the knife and fork together.
Together.
So those are things that we teach, we try to impart to our youth. And it started when more so when Miss Lawrence with the Embrace Girls Foundation decided that she wanted to enhance her after school program. So as I said before, it lined up favorably for me as she started started to think, what can she offer these children even more succinctly, even more defined, and will take them into their future, not just what they learn in a classroom, but what they'll use for the rest of their lives. So
Particularly in social situations, because we all know too that if you're invited out to lunch, and I'm sure you did this as an executive and you hired and fired people, if you were to invite them out to lunch, you were looking at whether they knew how to, behave in public, that whether they
absolutely,
knew how to put the napkin in the lap, whether they knew how to cut their food, and a lot of times that could make a break whether somebody gets a job. I mean, I know it sounds cliche or it sounds like it's not important, but really it can be.
it certainly can be. It is an important part of a person's social development. If you're sitting at a table with executives and you're unfamiliar with which knife or which fork to use and when to use it, that's embarrassing to
Mhm.
not only yourself, but imagine if I hired you and put you in that situation with other executives of other companies and other situations. It would make the two of us very uncomfortable. And
Mhm.
so first impressions are always important. We say that to people often.
Mhm.
And if your first impression just passed the original interview, or if in fact these days the dinner is the interview
Yeah,
process.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
even if at that process you don't have the skill set to manage the dining table, then that would be a concern, and that would be a deal breaker. You're absolutely right. It would be a deal breaker. With all the intelligence in the world, with all the background, do I now have to, or did you not see the importance of those skill sets? Would probably be my question as an executive asking that.
And even, the handshake. I
Oh,
noticed, I love that when I did go to the business etiquette, and let me tell you, there were some high-powered women in that room. The
yes,
first
there
thing
were.
you said was, you talk to them about their handshake. You look people in the eye, you shake their hand firmly, and then you introduce yourself. Now this is where we kind of, I guess, not mess up here in South Florida, but we're a kissy kissy group.
Yes.
And you ask the question, is it okay if I hug you? And I guess I just never thought about that because that is proper etiquette. You shouldn't just be going around hugging on people. You should ask
No.
first.
I think the proper thing to do is extend your hand
Hmm.
always, first thing. Then if someone pulls you in to the
Okay.
hug, then it's all well. But if you're met with a handshake, then that is proper protocol.
Hmm.
Extend your hand, let that person pull you in if that's, and it happens all the time. But you've done the proper thing. You didn't intrude on anyone's space without permission. And it is just the proper behavior in terms of, do I shake your hand or do I hug you? I'm all into for hugging, but give me the handshake. Let me figure you out first, or let's figure each other out first before we go into the hug.
And so these etiquette classes that you do, what has been your youngest customer and your or client and your oldest client? Because again, we're learning that it's never too late to learn, and sometimes we just don't know some things.
Absolutely. It's never too late to learn. And the earliest is when a child can walk and talk and sit at a dinner table to have dinner. I haven't had the pleasure of those young people yet, but I've
Okay.
had the pleasure of working with young ladies starting about the age of 7. And as I said, most recently, some business courses when I would have no idea. I would guess they're 40s or so, 40s.
40s, 50s, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. And let's be generous. Maybe we're just 30s. I don't know.
They look great for their age, yes.
Absolutely. That's the better that's a very better way of saying it. Yes, they look great for their age.
Wow. Okay. And so is this social grace something that I know you work a lot with young ladies, but men too, right? These are things
Yes,
that they can
yes.
learn as well.
Yes, absolutely. There was a gentleman in our class there, and he
Yeah.
was the first to write a thank you letter or note on what he'd learned.
Wow.
It was like amazing. Really? Oh, thank you so much, sir. Yes, thank you. And so he was very generous in his compliments, and I thought that's very interesting because men don't normally write thank you letters and
Mhm.
notes. And so he did get a lot out of the class. That those are his exact words.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're going to give you some scenarios, our etiquette queen. And in case you are just tuning in, we're talking to the founder and CEO of this wonderful program. It is Amazing Grace. It is etiquette and social development,
Yes,
manners
ma'am.
matter. And it's Sharon Jackson. She is going to be talking with us today all about social graces and what we should do. So we know, it's about to be holiday time. People are going out all the time. um, you may get 4 or 5 invitations, whether that's here's something to bring up. Invitations. Do they have to be paper anymore, or can you send out emails?
Oh, it doesn't have to be paper anymore. It can be a digital
Okay.
format. It could be traditional. And let's just talk about the invitation. That's really kind of special. Someone wants you to attend us, be in their space.
Hmm.
So someone is saying to you in terms of an invitation, Tamara, join me. I'd like you here. This is what's going on, and I would like for you to to participate.
Okay.
That's quite special. That in itself says someone is thinking of you and they're inviting you into their space. So
Okay.
we have an obligation and a responsibility once we receive an invitation in whatever format it might be. We must respond within 48 hours. But prior to that, a couple of things we would need to do. Would you like to attend this event? So you've got to kind of talk to yourself about these things. Is this something, someplace I'd like to be? Would I really like to be at this event? If the answer is yes or no, whatever that answer might be, then the next question to yourself, check your calendar. Am I available? If I'd like to go, am I available for that date? Yes or no? So if yes is the answer, you'd like to attend the event and your calendar affords you the opportunity to attend the event, then you within 48 hours, as I've said, you respond to the host or hostess, replying yes that you're intending to you're planning on attending, and you will respond in the same format that you received the invitation. So
Okay.
if she sent you an invitation by email, you respond via email. If it was a text, respond via whatever that format might be, or whatever the designated format is on the invitation.
Okay.
So having said that, now you've made a decision. You've said yes
Hmm.
or said no. No is very clear cut. I do need to go back a little bit. When someone invites us to attend an event, they must prepare for it so that if I'm having a party and I feel like I'd like 40 people, 40 of my best friends and family here, I could expect about 60% of the people will respond. Maybe more will, maybe less. But once I get my RSVPs, RSVP simply means respond please.
Yes.
Once I
Say
receive
it's
the
actually French. I know that.
responde s'il yes.
Yes.
So once I have my RSVPs, then I can determine how much food I need. What am I serving? All of those things go into preparation. So on the guest end, when I respond, yes, I plan to attend, then the host or hostess is making arrangements around my response of being yes. Moving on. Now I've said yes. I've said yes, and all of a sudden something comes up. I'm really sorry, I can't come. Yes, you should call, right? Same method of responding thus far. You would alert your host or hostess that unfortunately you can't attend.
And it
Very,
happens. It happens.
and
It
it,
doesn't
it
happen
certainly
all the
happens.
time.
It
Yeah.
certainly happens. But what happens if something comes up and you can attend? No, you
I can't
can't.
change my mind and say I can come now.
No, no.
Oh man,
Now,
Sharon.
now you could do that if it's a dear friend of yours. Hey, listen, yeah, things change and I can come. But for all practical purposes, once you've said yes, yes, it is, and
And once you
no,
say no, it's no.
no, it is.
Oh
No.
man. Okay.
And yeah, and what about, oh my goodness, I've got a guest in town.
That's right.
Let's
Because I couldn't
just
go to the event. So my guest is here with me. Can I bring my guest?
no, ma'am.
This
Sorry.
party's a dud. What are you talking
Yeah, yeah. But
about?
we're talking about social
Social,
graces.
yep, social
We're
graces
talking
and
about
etiquette.
etiquette. We are
Okay.
talking about the proper way of doing things. That is how it is written. Certainly, if you know the host and host or hostess well, they may say, "Oh, come on, bring them on." But properly, you shouldn't even ask. You should just presume that, not only presume, but know that you have declined the invitation and the decline stands as such.
Wow. And that happens so much when Sharon, people do that. Like they just bring a plus. Sometimes they bring a plus two. Oh, my
Yeah,
friends. And I'm thinking to myself, first of all, a lot of people don't like a lot of different people in their houses or, at their private events. And then secondly, you didn't bring but not one person, you brought two extra people plus yourself. That's not cool at all.
not at all. Well, let's go back to I'm inviting you to share my space. I'm inviting you to engage with me, my family, or this group of people. The invitation is for you. Unless the invitation says yes, you may bring a guest or Sharon Jackson and guest, then my invitation is strictly for you. So when we go back to yes, why can't I bring someone? First of all, I also let's go back to preparation. I may not have if I've expecting 40 people and 10 of you bring someone else, I may not be prepared for that. So it is the proper protocol, and I say this a lot, and I continue to say it because it's more important to say it to children because children will ask, but why, but
Mhm.
why, but why? Well, darling, it's the proper thing to
To
do.
do, right.
It is
Okay, so on the flip side of that, Um, I'm just not going to RSVP at all. Or I do RSVP and I don't call, I don't text, I don't say I'm just not going to show up. I don't feel like going tonight. So it's done. What about that? Because that can happen too. You may have been running all day long, you may have been tired, but I know you kind of already touched on that because you said you should let the host know one way or the other.
absolutely that's the bottom line of the Tamara.
Mhm.
The host prepares for this. You and I both know all of the things that go into planning any type of event. So
Absolutely.
that there is this person planning to entertain a certain number of people that she knows
Mhm.
most of the time, or he knows. So to your point of I would be very uncomfortable if you bringing someone who I've never met before without my permission. So I've set this event up to be a beautiful event with people that I know I will enjoy. They will enjoy being here with me and in my space. And then you don't show. Yeah, well, that's an investment.
That person's off the list for the next party. That's what that means.
Yes, yes. It's really quite rude. It's
Yeah,
really quite rude. And of course, etiquette and manners are all about being conscious of other people's feelings, being kind. No, there's nothing kind about that. There's nothing conscious of my feelings or anyone's feelings about that. Understandably, things will happen, but we should try to avoid those kinds of things.
Okay, well, we're here in South Florida and there are so many social events and people having parties. And as we mentioned earlier, getting ready for holidays, that happens all the time. You may get five, six, seven invitations. Like literally, you could be at a party every night of the week during the holiday season. I know what the answer to this is because I was always taught you don't, in Mary Williams' voice, you don't go to nobody's house without bringing something. So I already know the answer, but I just want you to touch on it.
Oh,
Mary Williams being my
um,
mother.
I,
So am I supposed to bring something to every one of these houses if I get 10 invitations?
I, it's optional these days,
Really?
just for that reason. So let's say three of the homes you're going to are your dear friends. You've been
Mhm.
there before. You guys are very close. You may not bring something, and that would be okay. But I would suggest that if you're going to someone's home, that you're not really familiar with, I would say take a gift. But technically, the standards these days are it's optional.
I can't even believe that because I know that a lot of hosts will tell you, don't bring anything. I've got enough food, I've got enough wine, whatever. But I just feel like I'm walking into someone's house naked without
Listen,
a bottle of wine or something.
we were brought up the same way.
Mhm.
Yes, according to my mother and her sister, and my husband's mother. Yes, when you enter someone's home, when you're invited to someone's home or to an event or to someone's home, you bring a gift.
Right.
So, um, um, etiquette certified. It says optional. But I personally, if I went to seven homes, I would probably be bringing seven gifts. If I went to my sister's home, I wouldn't take a gift,
Okay.
but I would take her bread pudding. But if someone else, I might not. I really can't see myself not taking a gift, but I don't know. I can't see it, but I can just say that these days it's optional. And on that note of a gift doesn't have to be anything huge. I mean, to your point, a bottle of wine, holiday flowers. If you're going to
A
bring flowers,
candle, a
a
candle,
candle,
people. Yeah.
absolutely a candle. It doesn't. It is the sentiment that counts. But again, it's somewhat optional.
Okay. If you are just tuning in, you need to be listening because this is all about those manners and etiquette. We are speaking with the founder and CEO of Amazing Grace Etiquette and Social Development, Sharon Jackson. She is a certified etiquette coach. You can hire her for your organization. She does personal lessons as well, so individual lessons if you need help in that. And we're going to give her information in just a little bit. I want to ask about two different things too. Again, what about meeting someone's parents for the first time? When dating and when I meet, the guy's mother and father, I always bring a gift. It's just a little token of something, but I just feel like they'll have a better, thought pattern about me,
I
if I bring something and I'm coming to their house.
Okay, so but it's not necessary,
Oh, wow.
but it's a nice gesture. We go back to manners being nice, kind, respectful of others, and first impressions are important.
Yeah.
So I would say yes. If it's gotten to the point where you're meeting a parent, yes, take some type of token to say, hi, this is who I am. I am a respectable person. I value your family, your son, and so here is just a token of my sincerity.
Okay, so the one that gets me, thank you notes.
Mm, well, then
People will call you and tell you thank you. They may even text you and tell you thank you. Is that enough? What I get upset about, and honestly, I'm gonna keep it real. I have one friend, I have stopped giving their children gifts because they never said thank you or sent me a thank you note. I'm just like, I'm done. I'm because I don't, if people only knew, and I'm not saying this to be braggadocious, how many invitations and graduation invitations and wedding invitations that I get in a year, I could go broke buying gifts for people, seriously. And
Mhm.
you don't even say thank you? That to me, I'm thinking, who does that?
Well, lots of people do that, and it's wrong. If you are given a gift, you are required to, in any format available to you, send a thank you. Send in terms of relay the thank you sentiment. If you want to send it via email,
Mhm.
if you want to text it, if you want to send a whole bunch of little emojis on whatever, whatever, all of those things are appropriate. It is the gist of saying and extending gratitude for something.
Mhm.
Someone has gone out of their way to extend themselves and offer you a gift. You in return must, according to protocols and etiquette standards, reply with a thank you. So I'm in agreement. We oftentimes are extending ourselves in. And you said, well, how do you expect a child to send you a thank you note? Well, mommy and daddy put the child on the telephone and say, hello, I just want to say thank you. I received the gift or whatever, but certainly, and it teaches them. Again, we go back to they're not being taught. We're not being taught. And so if for Christmas, if a child gets a gift from an aunt, 3, 4 years old, that can at least speak, yes, put the child on the phone and say, thank you, Auntie, thank you, Abuela, thank you, whomever, for the gift.
Wow. All right. Yeah, because that one I literally have stopped. I do not
Yeah,
know because
I
I
understand.
haven't been thanked once and I get good gifts. Honestly, when I look at people's registries,
But you've gone out of your way.
yeah, I look at a registry. I try to get you what you want, what's on your registry, and I try to get you the things that I know other people won't get you. You know, most people will try to get, the cheapest thing or whatever. I will get you the thing that I know nobody else is gonna get this because either it's too expensive or they just don't think about it or whatever. But it's on your registry, so I get it for you. But okay, thank you cards or some type of thank you acknowledgement, please, folks out there
Exactly,
when you get
exactly,
a gift.
exactly.
So, oh my God, we could talk forever because we've got so much different etiquette out in public, how people act, um,
Oh, yes,
letting people. We're gonna have to do a part two sometime.
please
Just
do.
even the kindness, as you mentioned, being kind to people and manners, letting people in front of you in traffic on I-95. I
Oh,
mean,
no.
we could be talking about a
Yeah,
whole bunch of
yes.
stuff.
Well, I just had an issue today, yes,
Oh,
and you have to say to yourself, just peace, just
yeah.
this is not a big deal. This is not life and death. Let the guy go. And he's giving us the wand and the whatever. And okay, now, dude, just calm it down.
Yeah.
Calm
Yeah. We
it.
could talk forever. Okay. Well, how can people get in touch with you, Sharon? And if they wanted to register their organization to, have you come in and teach classes. I love that royal blue and the pearls that you have on. So y'all
Thank
know
you.
she's a certified etiquette coach. She already knows what she's doing. But how can they get in touch with you? Or if they wanted to do even private lessons, because you do offer those as well.
Yes, yes. So our website is AGE at amazinggrace-etiquette.com.
And I'm showing it right now. Yep, I'm showing it right now. And they even have your contact information here. So you
Yes,
can always go here and fill out
yes,
the information. And that way she will get right back to you. But it's Amazing Grace Etiquette and Social Development. And again, amazinggrace-etiquette.com is the
yes.
website. So again, amazinggrace-etiquette.com. And this is something I think everybody needs, boys, girls, young people, old people. It is just
Agree.
we just need it.
Yes. I I I have to just say if the in this day and time where we're not really sure whether we're going to be a civil society today, tomorrow, how much longer. If we don't start now, if we can't go back to at least being civil, thank you, please, basic civility, um, we're going to head down the wrong road. I mean, we just
We're
there.
almost there. We are there. We are there
Yes,
right now.
yes. So it is an investment. It is but it is so needed, and it's a lifetime of use. It's just you're not going to learn how to use a knife and fork and never use it again. You will be using a knife and fork for the rest of your life.
Right.
So and appropriately. So it's just important that we invest in civility and kindness and understanding. Trying one of the skill sets of manners is listening. We've got to be able to listen to each other. We don't need to have be in agreement fully, but we do need to listen and try to understand the other person's point of view. And all of that is just basic manners, basic human interaction that we so desperately need to return to.
Wow. Well, you said a mouthful there. All right. Thank you, Sharon Jackson. She is the founder and CEO, also a certified etiquette coach with Amazing Grace Etiquette and Social Development. Please check them out, amazinggrace-etiquette.com for your organization, your church organizations, your children's organizations, or if you wanted to take a personal lesson, she is available for that as well. Personal development, because everybody needs it. So thank you so very much, Sharon Jackson.
A
And until
pleasure.
next time, no problem. We'll see you next time, okay?
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. And thank you for watching Good Morning Miramar. Until the next time, I'm your host, Tamara G. See ya.